So today I'm going to be making another video on HP inflation, right? I'm going to be unapologetically honest in this video. I'm going to be ranting. I'm going to be complaining. If you don't like that type of stuff, please click off, right? I understand, right? A lot of people don't want to get on YouTube. They don't want to hear a content creator complain about their favorite game. Maybe you'll call me skill issue. Who knows, right? But what I want to do is give people a accurate representation, a factual representation of the HP inflation and how much worse it's gotten within 6 months, right? So that's not a very long time. That's only 4 patches, I believe. Yes, that's 4 patches because each patch is a month and a half. So 6 months is around 4 patches, 2.3 to 2.7 currently. And I want you guys to just realize how much worse it's gotten, right? So let's get straight into it. So this is the 2.3 MOC. Now we have Firefly, right? So because of that, we have all these break mobs because this was allowing Firefly to really easily zero cycle, even at low investment when this first came out. It just made her look better than she really was, right? So you have these little dogs, right? Barely any HP, very easily killable. You have these 2 elites, both 500k. Once again, incredibly easily killable. That's very low health. Another 500k along a Japard with 1 million. So much easier than these days, right? And next on the second side, we have an elite with 460k, another elite with 500k, and a small mob with about 60k. So this adds up to around 1 million. This adds up around to 1.2 million, and this adds up to 1.5 million, and then this adds up to around 6 and 7 million, whatever you want to do, right? So all of these bosses, one thing you'll notice instantly, right? They're all in the 1 millions. Like even the biggest bosses possible are in the millions. Now, if I go to the current MOC, both bosses now are over 2 million, right? It's not even close. One's 2.3 million, the other one's 3.4 million in total. Some people say, oh, the Trotters. Keep in mind, the Trotters nowhere near make up the HP scaling, right? These Howling Caskets, 1.25 million HP. Last MOC, 750k. Right? That's like a damn near 70% HP increase. Svarog, 1.6 million. In this current MOC, he went up 700k. So he got like a 50%, around a 40 to 45% HP increase, I believe. Right? And the Trotters, I've already played the MOC over and over again. I know how much damage they do. The Trotters only do 6% damage to Svarog's HP. So you need to kill both Trotters like 3 cycles in a row to finally get the value out of them of how strong or damage to the amount of HP they gained, right? And the issue with this is it's good for AoE DPSs. It's shitty for Fei Xiao's, right? Now, the reason Fei Xiao performs so much worse in this MOC isn't only because of the HP, because if it was just the HP, she'd go from doing 1 cycles to 2 cycles. It's really just that simple, right? However, the real issue is she has to waste her turns trying to kill the Trotters, as well as March 7th, also having to waste her turns to kill the Trotters, which in the end leads to just wasted damage that could have been on the bosses or elites. It just overall ends up being way, way worse, right? And it's just not good. It really isn't good. I've seen a lot of sustainless runs lately. However, you could literally zero cycle with Fei Xiao, sustain, and without E1 Robin last MOC. And currently, from every single zero cycle I have seen for Fei Xiao in the new MOC, they're all using sustainless with Bronya and E1 Robin. That's how much more cost heavy it's gotten for a Fei Xiao team to perform the same as she did in the last MOC, right? Now, enough with the theatrics, right? So, the total HP of every mob here combined is 10.8 million. And the effective damage you would have to do as an AoE DPS is around 7.7 million. And this is in 2.7. And this is 2.3. 5.4 million and 318k, or sorry, 3.1 million effective damage if you're using an AoE DPS. Guys, it's only been 4 patches since this. 6 months, 4 patches, and we've doubled the HP on these mobs. Doubled. And the AoE is even worse than doubled, right? It's like a 2.5x increase here for AoE DPSs. So within only 6 months, only 4 patches, the endgame has gotten twice as difficult. Another thing I want to bring up is just how big of a difference, aside from 4 patch difference, right? It used to be within 4 MOCs than it is currently within 4 MOCs. So when the game first started, if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, within these 4 MOCs, it never went above 4.3 million and started at 3.6 million, which means the highest it ever changed was by about 800k. So from this MOC to 3 MOCs later, it only ever gained 800k more, which at this point is around like what, a 20-25% HP increase around there, right? So it's not anything massive. This is normal, right? Keep in mind, by the way, Eye of Wanton Feast is when Acheron released. So even with that big drop of a DPS, they still didn't really scale it all that much higher. So this is Acheron when she released was Eye of Wanton Feast. Now if we go here and we go to the latest 4 difference, right? We have 1, 2, 3. This is it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so right here, the Big Sleep. So the Big Sleep had 6 million single target AoE. And within 4 MOCs, we've gone to 10 million, which I think anyone can tell is about a 60 to 70% HP increase, maybe even more. So literally, the first 4 MOCs of floor 12 only had about a 20 to 25% HP difference, while the last 4 have had a 60 to 70% HP difference. Let's not even talk about this one, right? This shit pisses me off. I understand there's a mechanic to make it easier, but this should be a sign that this will eventually be normal without the mechanics, right? Eventually, we are going to have DPSs strong enough to the point where this is going to be a normal HP like amount for the end game without the crazy mechanics that it has to make it easier. That's why I really do not like just this huge ass jump from 10.8 million to 16 million. Right, but that isn't even out in the game yet, and it's easier, so I'm not going to count it. So my issue with this is it is exponentially increasing, right? This isn't linear increase by any means. This is an exponential increase, meaning the more units we're getting and the further we get into the game, the more and more the HP is scaling higher significantly, right? If I wanted to be that guy and to just be like a fucking weirdo, right, I could just use this, right? It would be way more than 60%. It would be over like 100% because this is 6 million, right? Yeah. So this is about a over 200% HP increase from 4 MOCs before this one, which is absolutely bonkers. However, that's a little bit inaccurate, you know what I'm saying, because of the mechanics. So for this current one, I'm just going to say 60 to 70%, from 20% to 60% within 4 MOCs. That's how much and how fast the HP scaling is getting. You cannot take a break from this fucking game, and it's so goddamn frustrating because what the fuck, like in Genshin, literally you can still use Hu Tao. You could have taken like a 2-year break after pulling Hu Tao in Genshin, come back and cleared all the endgame with absolute fucking ease. The Honkai Star Rail hasn't even been out for 2 years yet. Hu Tao is like twice the lifespan of Honkai Star Rail itself, yet she still clears endgame just fine. Jing Yuan, Blade, Jing Liu, without the newer supports that someone would have missed if they took a break from the game, they are underperforming massively in the end game. Almost every time I watch like a Jing Yuan or I watch a Blade or I watch a Jing Liu clear something, it's like E1 S1 Robin, E1 S1 Sunday, Sustainless. Like, oh my goodness. It's like, what the fuck is a returning player supposed to do if they ever take a fucking break from this game? It'd be absolute hell, man. Like, any new player, they're fine because they can instantly go for a new comp with all the massive amount of pulls they can farm off of the planets. But any returning player who already used all their Jades on the old units and comes back like maybe 6 or 7 patches later is fucked. Which doesn't happen in Genshin. This doesn't happen in WoWa either. In WoWa and Genshin, you could have fucking skipped for like 6 months. Guess what? Jinchi is still the strongest DPS 6 months later. It's not the same in this game. In 2.1, Eye of Wanton Fest, which was the MOC around Acheron's release, no Zhaoq, no Light Cone, you're clearing all the endgame easily, without issue. You're just smashing through it. Acheron, #1 DPS. Literally, by her rerun in 2.6, a completely different story. Literally a completely different story. It is double of what it was when she first released, and now it's even further than that. Almost everyone these days recommends pulling her Light Cone and Zhaoq, and even then, she's still no longer the #1 DPS, even with those two things. That's how bad it is. And at the end of the day, right, power creep is normal in these gacha games. I fully understand. However, I'd much rather Genshin's version and WoWa's version of power creep than Honkai Star Rail. For example, the power creep in Genshin is damn near so non-existent that I see people comparing who's the strongest DPS by putting a timer, and the difference between them is like 2 or 3 seconds. Right? It's literally just who can one-shot the boss fastest. That's basically how they measure it. And it's like 14 seconds for the newest DPS and like 16 or 17 seconds for like Arlecchino. And then they're like, oh my god, my Arlecchino's been completely power crept. Fuck, I'm gonna quit the game. Like, oh my god. They have non-existent power creep problems in Genshin currently. And HSR is going through the fucking gutter with this shit. It is so much worse in this game. You cannot take a break, right? I have heard that the power creep recently in Genshin has been amping up a little bit more. However, it's just still nowhere near the level of this game. I hope they fix this. I hope they do something. I'm sorry for ranting. I just wanted to really make a video to emphasize how big of a difference this is. Hu Tao is twice the lifespan of Honkai Star Rail, and she still clears all the endgame without issue. Like, it's so much better in Genshin, despite Genshin having the most shittiest pulls ever, right? So yeah, that's going to be it for me complaining. I hope you all have a good day. Hope you all have a good night. Peace.